What is up, basketball fans? This is Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast brought to you by Big City Wings, Houston's wing joint, Apollo's wing joint. Go check out their daily specials each and every day in Houston. Great people, great beer, great wings. Big City Wings, Houston's wing joint, Apollo's wing joint. Go check out CelebrityMint.com to see Celebrity Mint's graded legal tender collectibles of Mike Tyson, Ric Flair, and more, and all these different precious metals, gaming cards, all the things at CelebrityMint.com. And thank you to Prize Picks. Prize Picks is Apollo's daily fantasy app where you can put money on more or less on points, rebounds, assists, shots on goal if you're a hockey head. And then obviously we got baseball season coming up, so you can do fantasy score, innings pitched, strikeouts, homers, fantasy score, all the things at Prize Picks. Use code Apollo when you sign up to earn up to $100 matched on your first deposit. Again, Apollo is the code to use to get up to $100 matched on your first deposit with Prize Picks. I am joined by the What We Learn Houston Rockets edition king, Josh Garcia. How we doing, bud?
Great, brother. I'm feeling great, feeling good. Mid-major tournament season,
Sure.
watching crazy championship games at 4 p.m. Can't wait.
Yeah, that's nice.
But yeah, there's a lot of hope to be had in March. Spring forward, a bunch of mid-major colleges are really putting everything on the table. I'm just having a good time, trying to really get back into the NBA right now. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on, but it's just we're in that lulling period. Once early March or early April comes around, it's over for y'all hoes. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But I'm loving the hat today. You look sharp. Feeling good, looking good. In
Yeah.
my Looney Tunes Harley Davidson shirt today. Peep the swag for y'all on the YouTube. Love
there
it.
it is.
Yeah.
Apollo HOU YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. So you can watch us. You don't have to just listen. You can watch.
That's right.
You miss a lot of facial expressions and laughing if you don't watch it
Yes.
on YouTube. So go
Yes.
hit up the YouTube. But you mentioned my hat. In Dallas, I don't see people wearing the old or the current Dallas Mavericks logo gear much, unless it's a jersey for the most part. Most people wear the statement jerseys, which just says Mavs across the chest, and it doesn't have the logo on it. It's the navy blue. It's a little bit different. It's better than what we currently have. This is the hat and the logo that I see the most in Dallas. I don't know why any team has ever thought, let's change a really good logo and make it worse every single time. There has never been a rebrand where I'm just like, yep, they nailed it. The Atlanta Falcons sucks. The Miami Dolphins sucks. Like, there's a lot of teams that have rebranded over the years. You know who hasn't? Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers, the two best franchises in NBA history, the most finals appearances and wins across the board. They've never changed a thing. They found their logo and they're like, yep, this is it. This is what we run with. They change their colors from here every once in a while. They'll change the colors. They'll change the uniforms, tweak it slightly. Like the LeBron era Lakers is a little bit different than the Kobe era Lakers. But for the most part, it's the same jersey, just a little bit different. Or the piping and the V-neck or the crew neck. You get slight tweaks. But the logo stays the same. Why are we ever going away from vintage logos? I don't get it. I'm begging my team specifically to just go back to the vintage logos and call it a day. The Dallas Stars even have an incredible logo from the 90s. They got rid of it because the new owner came in and was like, we need a new era of Dallas Stars hockey. You know what we haven't done since the new era of the Dallas Stars hockey and the rebrand? Haven't won a cup. Why? Well,
You said it.
Wonder why. I probably should go back to that old logo and just use the current colors. That'd be great.
Yeah.
I don't know. Vintage is much better than anything else. And I will buy every new vintage thing they come out with, like Mitchell Ness. I'm like, yep, that makes sense. I'm going to buy that one instead of the current logo. It sucks.
Yeah.
The current logo sucks.
Exactly. And Mitchell & Ness is one of those brands where you love the design, but then you feel the t-shirt and you're like, why is this this is like two pieces of paper connected together.
Yeah.
Absolute worst. Fanatics is just ruining the game outside of, they've been in so much controversy with MLB jerseys lately. They're ruining the trading card game. They bought out Topps, I think it was. They're going for Panini next, man. What happened to the game? What happened to the world that I love? You know what I mean? And it's crazy you mentioned that about the logos too, because the Dallas Mavericks logo is so sick, but it's like, if you look at all the logos from that era, it's like middle of the road, like sneaky, but it still just looks that much better. You know what I mean? Than anything else.
Just, you got the cowboy hat. Like, what is more Dallas than a little cowboy hat and some cowboy boots? You know?
If it's perfect on the M, it's sick.
It's the best.
It was hard.
You could do this and put the D in the middle and just have the Dallas Mavericks. Like, just put the cowboy hat on the corner of the D and call it a day.
Exactly.
If you wanted to
Exactly.
rebrand it again and
Dude,
use the same thing but different.
we're gonna see this crazy trend back. I always tell my friends it's gonna be like this summer's different. This summer's different. I say it every year, and I always think that something is gonna come back. It either does or it doesn't. Most years it doesn't, especially with the it's almost a corporatization of all these logos. And I've always said it was right when Chipotle and Panera changed their logo. Everybody follows suit. You had Walmart, Target change all their stuff. At least Target still
Yeah.
has the bullseye. That goes hard.
Yeah.
Um,
They got
but I
rid
don't
of the
know.
dog though. They need
It's
to bring back
yeah,
that bull terrier.
yeah, and they took the balls out of most Targets. Like I get that they
They
were
still have them
hazards.
in Alabama. In my hometown, they
Wow.
still had the balls. And I was like, Target's got balls.
Exactly. I think Minute Maid still has their balls out there. I could be wrong, but
I
I
think they
remember
do too.
like as a kid, just like sitting on them, just like feeling like I was on top of the world, even though it's like what 3 feet off the ground. I had to have
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
carry my small ass at like 6 years old because I couldn't jump up. Dude, don't get mad at me because I had less than a 10-inch vertical at 6 years old. Okay,
It's fine. It's fine. You didn't hit puberty yet. You're fine. You weren't
right?
at your athletic peak. It's okay.
Yeah,
Speaking of basketball, though, I want you to lead this, but Shea Gilgeous-Alexander,
yeah,
we
yeah.
need to have a conversation about stat padding and things
Um,
that don't matter.
yeah, he's been doing this thing recently, and it's such a corny version of the aura thing that we've been pushing this entire year. He had a post game interview where I think it was the one of the Williamses and I think somebody else I forget. I saw the clip and he was the commentator was like, "How are you so consistent?" Da, 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 and just complete. I don't want to say dick riding because he was just doing his job, but then
Yeah.
Shea responds with, "My whole life is consistent," and all the players in the back just go, "Oh
The
shit!"
Jalen Williams is
Yeah,
brother. And they were like, oh.
they're like, "Oh shit!" And I think it's great that we have like younger guys. People were even clowning the Williams for having like spam accounts, like Finstas on Instagram. But it's like they're like my age, our age, like
If not younger than you. Like
yeah,
that's just the thing.
yeah. And it's like it is corny on the surface level, but you got to remember, like especially the new NBA, it's like it's just kids. Anyway, Shea was stat padding like crazy last night, and let me kind of break down the clip for you. There was about a 14 seconds left. They were getting beat, not blown out. They were getting beat by 10.
Yep.
No shot clock on. The Pacers inbound the ball. Shea fouls them for no particular reason. The game was completely over. And I forget who was at the line for the Pacers. They end up making both, kind of off the rim, off the backboard, goes back out, and whoever inbounds the ball to Shea runs down. And just hits this pointless layup. He sprints down the court in about 4 or 5 seconds. Nobody tries to stop him because there's no point. It's like we're up 12 points and you're just going for twos. You're not going to foul again. He was at 28 points, finally hits that 30 mark. He beats KD's franchise record. I think it was 47 games in a 82 game season where he hits 30 plus.
Yep.
I get that he's shooting efficiently this year. He's playing really well, but if these type of shots are counting towards his efficiency, I don't want it. I don't want it.
No.
This guy being MVP or even in the conversation, it's just like I get that you're a 1 seed. The Thunder are doing great. That kind of year that they almost took off, but having Shea still drop 30 and kind of the youth still developing, having Chet come back in his second year, which is really his rookie year, he has been dominating after that injury. Not unfortunately, not even close to Wemby anymore.
Right.
Which shout out the Rockets for locking him up last night. You saw that clip of I think it was Trey Jones just dribbling for 24 seconds and not passing to Wemby.
And we've said it all season long. It's malpractice in San Antonio. I don't know why Pop doesn't just like Wemby. You're taking the ball up every single time. Don't pass it unless you need to.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wemby being point guard, imagine, even just for like 10, 15 possessions a game. Must see television, folks. But this leads to an even deeper conversation of, what are defenses doing or what is the NBA doing to really, prevent, I don't want to say prevent scoring, but we've seen so many teams score 130, 140 consistently every 5-10 games or so. And then on the other hand, you have the Sixers Knicks. What was it, 79-73? It was a game straight out of 2004. Was that game on national TV? Imagine if it was.
It was like 82-79 or something like that.
Yeah, disgusting, absolutely nasty work. But it leads to a deeper conversation of what is the NBA trying to really do. And we got a tweet from Shams today basically saying that the NBA is going to try and do everything they can to really understand why the offenses are playing like this. it just seems right now it's kind of in a period where the rules are transitioning. So you're
Mm.
seeing much less fouls called. We talked about it pre-show. Luca and Kyrie. I'll let you take this part away, but they're not getting free throws essentially, and they're driving a shit ton too.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, Kyrie Irving, every time he drives to the hoop, he gets fouled. Whether you call it a foul or you don't, like there's a foul almost every single time he's going
Right.
to the hoop. He had 0 free throws the other night against the Chicago Bulls on Monday night. We're recording this Wednesday, March 13th at 3:20 p.m. before any games get started. It's 0 free throw attempts. Luca had 4 free throw attempts and 27 points with 25 shots or something like that. 26 shots for the night. Like not an efficient night for Luca, but only 4 free throws. And you're like, okay. And no other Mavericks shot more than 3 free throws. I don't remember what the incredible total was, but it wasn't a lot. It was
Right.
like 10 or 11 free throws for the entire game, whereas it was like 20 to 23 free throws per team per game. They say they're going to look at it in the offseason and work towards building that. They've already implemented whatever they wanted to do before the season gets to the playoffs. I think they ran into a problem where offenses were too good and people were just like, does it matter? Does the regular season even matter anymore? It's not like fun or entertaining a lot of the nights. Like obviously you have Cavs, Mavs a couple weeks ago where Max Strus hits the game winner. Like that's an entertaining game. That doesn't happen very often right now in the NBA. It's usually a blowout or like a comfortable 10-point win. Like that's roughly what we're getting. Obviously we have the Boston Celtics and the Denver Nuggets game where it's tight till the end. Like we have a few of those games a week, but it's not like every night you're getting at least one, if not two of
Right.
those like we were getting in the 2000s, 2010s. It was blowout city, and I think Adam Silver was like, all right, enough. We have to figure this out. So I think they're just not going to call fouls anymore, and I'm okay with that. If we're going to be consistent across the teams where everyone's going to be evenly called
Right.
and you're just going to let them play, if we're going to have playoff basketball in March, I'm down.
Yeah, it's going to lead to these chaos scenarios like Knicks Pistons the other week, where it was the last 30 seconds and there was just no fouls called until the end when Josh Hart took that layup.
Yeah.
Which even then, I think Isaiah Stewart was guarding him and his hands were up. He was vertical.
No, he punched him, right?
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
No, wrong
The
guy.
the
Okay, sorry.
the Isaiah Stewart tweets over and over, just seeing Isaiah Stewart's trying to kill a baby, and I love them. So good.
Allegedly. Yeah. But yeah, if we're going to have tightly officiated games now where they're just not going to call bullshit ticky-tacky fouls, or
Right.
they're not going to call the flopping fouls anymore, or they're going to call them against the offensive player for flopping. If we're going to start getting that more often, I'm okay with it. Take the charges out. Like, get rid of the charge call. Like, I'm just tired of people getting hurt basically over a charge call. Like, players go up for a free throw or for a layup or a dunk, and they're coming down and like landing on top of their head from 10 feet in the air. Like, that doesn't need to be a rule. Like, either go up for the block or don't get in his way at all. Call it a day. Get rid of the charging call and stop calling all the flops. And I'm okay. They're not going to stop the charging call. I don't think they're ever going to get rid of it, but they need to modify it somehow.
I was just going to say, yeah, exactly. I was just going to say the charging blocking foul. I think just overall, like you mentioned, like player safety is the most important. And I hate to, I don't want to make it sound like I'm, an NFL fan being corny, like, oh, we need to have less action, less tackles. Like, no, the NBA is a contact sport. But it doesn't need to be, like how we saw Şengün come down after, trying to block a crazy layup, and of course, if Sabonis had a little bit bigger of a vert, I mean, that would have either been disastrous for the both of them. That could have been disastrous for the both of them.
Yeah.
But just seeing the NBA turn out how it's been this year. I mean, overall, it's been a great year, but there's been so many more holes in the officiating, so many more holes in the offensive, defensive game. It feels like there's not much of a balance anymore. That's why we're seeing so many points being scored, which, like I said, like I always say, glass half full, glass half empty. You can look at it and be like, oh my God, these close games are 129 to 125 by the end of it. I want more, or oh my God, I'm really satisfied, because it's either you have that or you have like a 70 to 68, and I love to see a game winner, of course, even if it means that I have to sit through a 70 to 68 game, the game winner would pay off everything. But the NBA is just, we got to accept that it's different, and there needs to be, rules implemented. Definitely. I mean, they say that hand checking isn't really here anymore, but if you watch games, you see contact on the perimeter all the time, the time, and they don't call it. They don't need to call it either, because I mean, if you're playing street ball, or even just like at like some shitty park game to 11, you're gonna get touched. There's gonna be contact no matter what. And it's this is the NBA, the highest level. They also, I feel like they need to kind of alter the going vertical kind of block attempts. I'm not saying that players need to attempt to swat people the ball or swat people's faces, but something's got to give with that as well. It's going to be a complete overhaul, and I really hope that we're not going to look back at this in 2 or 3 years and be like, oh, that was the last NBA season of true offensive fluidity. Why have the averages dropped down 15, 20 points just out of nowhere? You know what I mean? So
Well, I
it's going to
think
be a slippery slope, and they're going to test stuff in the preseason. The summer league is going to be it's going to be ground zero, and it's going to suck. You're going to see great prospects like Rob Dillingham and Reed
stop,
Shepard uh,
stop it.
having to adhere to these new NBA rules, which is
Every
going to stink.
show.
Yeah,
Every show you bring them up. Just quit it. I think offensive rating this season was like around 112 or 114
right.
across the NBA as an average, and the Celtics are up at like 129,000. Like they're exception to the mean. Obviously, they're well above all the qualitative measures there, but averages are around, I think, 112.4. I think was the league average about 2 weeks ago. The last 2 weeks of the NBA season, I think it's down to like 104, 105 offensive rating. Which, if that's what we're going towards, that's fine by me, because that just kind of separates the boys from men. Like, the scorers are going to still score no matter what. They're still going to get their points. They're probably still going to average 30 like Shea or Luka or whoever it may be. But it's going to get tighter for everybody else. And if you're not that elite scorer, you're not going to get your buckets. It's going to have to be a tougher matchup and tougher game. And I think that's exciting for the NBA, because I think they've lost a lot of older fans,
Right.
like kids that aren't people that aren't our generation. They're just like not watching basketball anymore, because it's not like the 80s and 90s and early 2000s where you could just murder, like take a gun out and shoot someone in their chest,
Yep.
like on the court, and not get a foul call. Like, since we're not in that era anymore, I think we've lost some people. So if we're getting closer to that era, but we're not like, we're moving towards their direction, but not anywhere near it, I'm fine with that. Like,
Right.
let's be reasonable about it. I think they're doing the right thing and trying not to nerf offense, but to make the game better is really
Right.
what it is.
Right.
I think Adam Silver's right in that. So, yeah, that's Shea's stat padding and NBA changing rules, which is fun. Before we go, let's talk about our dream playoff matchups. The whole scenario, we're going to go first round, second round, Western Conference Finals, Eastern Conference Finals matchups. So we're going to just rattle them off. We'll start with the West. We come up with this pre-show, so this is kind of what we would think would be our favorite matchups for the most part. There's some stinkers in here, but we can't avoid those. But it's fine. It's fine. Starting off with the West, the 1-8 matchup would be Denver and the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yes.
We had a great matchup last year. I know it was a 4-game sweep, but every game was close. It was like 5 points or less.
Yep.
I think the Lakers might be a little bit better than they were last year, but I don't think Denver's necessarily better than they were last year. They're just the same thing without Bruce Brown. Fine. They're going to win that series, but at least maybe it'll be a 5-game series this time, or a 6-game if we're lucky.
I love those 8-1s that go a little deeper than you think they should. And also the Nuggets got a huge snub in our Run It Back award for our Oscars show. Check that out if you have not. Because they're doing the exact same thing, and they're tied for first in the West right now.
I think they're technically second, but I would assume that they're going to get
half a game. I mean, come on, the Nuggets will figure it out.
Yeah,
not that there's much to figure it out.
No, not at all. Denver Lakers 1-8 matchup in the West, 2-7 Minnesota as the 2 seed, and Phoenix as the 7 seed. There was definitely some personal bias in some of these picks on the West from my end, but those are for reasons that we'll get into next. But I think Minnesota Phoenix would be very fun. Anthony Edwards guarding Devin Booker and just like mean mugging them the whole time would be very fun for me as a Devin Booker hater. KD versus Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, like that would be fun. Like that's just a fun matchup.
Yeah,
because they don't necessarily match up well against either team.
Exactly. It's just going to be a battle of vibes, and whoever has the most vibes is going to win. God willing, Karl Anthony Towns comes back, you're going to be seeing a situation. I mean, like I mentioned, I think last show, if Karl Anthony Towns can have an Aaron Rodgers kind of situation where that we're kind of thinking over and over, oh, he's going to come back early, and he actually does, that'd be sick. That'd be sick as hell, wouldn't it?
That would be good.
Yeah.
our next matchup, the 3-6 matchup, Oklahoma City coming in at the 3 seed, coming back down to earth a little bit. Dallas Mavericks. My Dallas Mavericks as the 6 seed. This is my dream matchup because I know exactly what's going to happen during this series, and it's going to be a bloodbath for Oklahoma City and
Oh yeah,
the young Gen whatever are they Gen Zs? Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
those kids, they're going to be in shambles. The TikTok kids, they're going to be just pissed off. Oh, I can't wait for that. Dallas would just fucking wax them. Wax them. I mean, we
Wow.
got 40 right after the trade deadline, and it's like I mean, they just don't match up well against each other.
No, they
I,
don't.
at or Dallas matches up really well against Oklahoma City because they have too many people that no one on Oklahoma City can guard. Chet would just be dominated by Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively II. I would just love that matchup personally. This is what I'm hoping because then if Dallas gets the 6 seed, Luka gets an MVP, kind of maybe, probably. I don't know. I would love that. Just love it.
The Thunder perfectly give off, and maybe you're a much bigger NFL guy than I am. They perfectly give off that 2020 Steelers season where they just start. What did they start? 12-0, 10-0, something like that.
Yeah, they were 11-0
11
with
and 0,
Roethlisberger.
and they just shit the bed.
Yeah, they
So
just
I think if anything, you're going to see a Thunder team. Maybe if they do play Dallas, I think it'll be close. I think OKC will take it unless Luka just has a nuclear series, which is completely in the cards here. But
yep.
I don't ever see OKC getting out of the second round. Same with Minnesota. I know the West is a bloodbath, but a perfect, we'll get into this later. A perfect conference finals. Just give me, the Nuggets and the Clippers, and just call it a day. I don't
Yeah.
want to see these young teams just yet. And again, why calling the Timberwolves young is so silly. But at the end of the day, that in regards to experience, that is what they are. They are who they are, and
Dude,
it's
I
up to
learned that
Anthony
Nas
Edwards.
Reed is 24 years old.
Are you serious?
Or like 24 or 25. Like he's just like 12 years old out there. I had no idea that Nas
He's
Reed
been
was.
in the league for like 6 years. No, am I
Someone
am I
tweeted and were
crazy?
like, hold on, wait a second. This guy's this young. I think it was 24 or 25. I can't
Dude,
remember.
now Nas Reed perfectly gives off like 2008 Carl Landry vibes for me. Just a more
Mhm.
modernized version of it. Remember that Rocket streak 22-0?
Yeah.
Then would just get blown out in Boston game 23. Oh, I remember watching that live. I was pissed.
Our last matchup on the West Side, 4 versus 5, Los Angeles Clippers versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Kind of a bloodbath. I think
Need
that'd
it.
be a 5-game, maybe 6-game series, but Clippers are better if they're healthy. Obviously, Kawhi is hurt right now. We don't know how long he's going to be out or if he's going to be out a prolonged period of time or he's just missing a game. So, if the Clippers are healthy, they win that series, but it'll be at least entertaining if Zion's like not fat.
We still doing this?
Yeah,
Are we still doing
I
this?
can't help it.
Dude,
Every time I couldn't
it's
help it. It just came
you-
right to my brain.
yeah, I don't blame you at all. But New Orleans, I even saw this on Twitter today. They said if I think Jokic Joe Star tweeted if Herb Jones doesn't get NBA first team, then we can actually start playing the small market card, as in
Yeah,
they just don't pay attention. The writers don't pay attention. Nobody cares. We don't get national TV games. Dude, Herb Jones is sick, and I think once
he is. Alabama
Zion
player.
ends up being and Zion's played well this year. He's been
He has.
mostly healthy, but we haven't heard much from him, and this has been the entire year where this was almost his make or break year, and he hasn't been getting the actual love and coverage that he deserves because he's been playing out of his mind this year. He just doesn't do crazy dunks anymore because he can't really afford to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, sure, whatever. I think that series would be fun. I just don't think it'd be wildly competitive in the fourth quarter,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, yeah.
On the East side, 1 versus 8, just a nightmare matchup for the Boston Celtics
Yes.
and the Miami Heat. No Celtics fan, Bill Simmons included, wants to see Miami, and I wouldn't either because Miami's actually been pretty hot recently. They've been a
Right.
little bit healthier. Miami's not like fun to play against. Like I would hate to be on the East and be like, "Fuck, we're the 1 seed, but we got to play Miami of all teams," because they're the best coach team by far. Like Spo's probably the 1 or 2 best coach in the league. Then you got Jimmy Butler, who's just an asshole. Bam Adebayo, who's just a pain to play against because he's really good at basketball. And then everybody they're not the Jailblazers, but like that's kind of how I view them. They're just like the worst people to play against.
No,
Like
they're
you
just
just
dogs.
time
Yeah.
you're just
Yeah.
mad the entire time you have to play against them. I love that matchup just because it's fun. Even though I don't think Miami would win that one, I think Miami pushes it to 6 or 7 games, and it's just a completely horrible, just a nightmare matchup for Boston. Like, could you imagine Boston going to 7 games every series again, like they did in 2008?
God, they would be dead
That would be fun.
come finals time.
That would be really fun, especially when they get to play Denver, probably. The 2-7 matchup, dream matchup here. Indiana's going to go down to the 7 seed. Milwaukee's going to stay at the 2 seed. Give me the game ball, freaky at night, thinking about the Indiana Pacers, Milwaukee versus Indiana.
Need
I
it.
need that one more than I need air because Indiana could win that series just by shooting more threes than everybody else will in the entire world. Rick Carlisle's just like, these are the Phoenix Suns from 2007. Take it or leave it.
Yep.
Yeah, just no defense, just vibes. Yeah, that would just be fun for the drama that we've had in the season. Then you got a little mini rivalry like Indiana versus Wisconsin kind of thing. Like, I don't know, the Midwesterners just not getting along for 7 games sounds fun to me.
Exactly. That's perfect to me. Giannis is just, we always say he's just gotten so corny over the past couple of years. Seeing him go down in the first round would just make my heart just beat out of my chest. Let alone, and I know Tyrese is what?
In back-to-back years, if Giannis goes down in the first round, and then we get to push the Doc Rivers agenda.
Oh, come on. Give it to me. Give it to me.
Yeah,
Dude,
we need that.
Need that. I think with Tyrese, kind of not playing the greatest over the past couple weeks, I feel like he's kind of getting it out now. And seeing Tyrese in a big playoff series like that,
yeah,
give it to me. I need that expeditiously.
Yeah, no, that just sounds like a fucking blast. The 3-6 matchup, Cleveland versus Philly. Okay,
Yeah,
that's there.
Yeah,
that's a playoff matchup. I don't have
for sure. Donovan Mitchell's going to either play the series of his life or he's going to shit the bed, and we're going to keep having these conversations of, oh, this guy's still doing this at age 27. When is he ever going to go to the next level? But I don't know. I mean, Joel Embiid is kind of, he's being hindered with this injury right now, and not really encouraging reports coming out because they said he'd be lucky to play like the last week of the season.
Yeah,
and I'm not really. They might as well just shut him down if that's the case. I mean, maybe if he wants to get some form of cardio, some form of real in-game time again, sure. But just pull the Şengün card, shut him down for the year, and once they do hit the postseason, just have him bust ass and take names and practice his ass off and hope that it all works out, because that's your only hope if you want to beat a really, really solid Cavs team.
Yeah, for sure. Then probably my favorite matchup on the East outside of Boston, Miami, obviously, because that one is just that just feeds families. That one just gives me joy. 4 seed New York Knicks, 5 seed Orlando Magic.
Oh yeah,
just defense and physical death threats flying around. Just like everyone on the court's going to shoot each other with a gun, and it's going to be awesome.
Yep.
OG and he's back. OG, you're not allowed to leave the Knicks ever again due to injury. Just like you have to stay on the court because you're incredible on that team. It's literally Kawhi. Did you see the clip? He's just at the top of the key, and they're like, all right, screen. He just runs into the corner and shoots a mid-range jump shot just like Kawhi would.
Yeah.
It's very Kawhi-esque. And I'm not saying that because it just like looks like him. It's also because OG kind of plays like him.
Yeah.
It's not just like that one play. He plays incredible defense. He'll guard 1 through 4, even the 5 sometimes. Like, he's going to guard the best player on the court no matter what. And he's probably going to give you 18 to 25 points and shoot.
It's perfect.
Awesome.
In a Tibbs system where the guys are playing 40+ minutes a game, Josh Hart actually, I think, broke the record this year for 6+ games in a row with 40+ minutes. It's like,
not ideal.
You're trying to kill these guys in April. You're going to make the playoffs.
19 and 10 the other night, just putting up Jokic stats as a 6'4" guard. Like, Josh Hart, good for you. And then the Magic on their side, you got Paolo, Franz. Like, that's a fun team. And they defense. Their coach just got an extension, so would have been the Maverick coach. But that's just an awesome, gritty matchup. 90s, early 2000s matchup where it's just going to be defense and everyone's going to hate each other and hit each other. And I would love it. Just it's a backyard brawl. Well, give me Knicks Magic. If we can have that, Boston, Miami, and OKC, Dallas, I am a happy camper no matter what else the other matchups are.
Exactly. And even the quote unquote stinkers that you mentioned, because of course I could tell as soon as you said Cleveland and Philly, you were like, I'm gonna K
I
word
just didn't have
myself.
anything to say about that one.
No, because it's like you expect Philly to make it to the second round, if not the conference finals, and this is a banged up Philly team that is putting B-ball Paul in for 25 minutes a game, and
Yeah.
Lord respect to Paul Reed, but it's like you're not gonna go far if that's what we're doing here. The best thing about the Orlando Magic, though, that I want to see, especially in that playoff series against the Knicks, is just OG Anunoby on Paolo Banchero. Oh my god! Oh my god, dude! I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die watching that series, and I can't fucking wait. I
Yeah.
cannot wait.
That one is just in the Garden during the playoffs too. And
Oh
then
yeah.
if the Magic win a game, you get the Orlando Magic TikTok with the song. We're cooking with that series. That
Oh
one,
yeah.
if the NBA is rigged like everyone thinks it is and probably is known to be, if we don't get Knicks Magic and Boston Miami on the East side, then I don't believe anything anymore.
Riot.
I won't believe the rig rumors anymore. I don't care about Game 6 and 7 in the Western Conference Finals in the early 2000s with the Lakers and Kings. I don't care anymore. It's not real. Tim Donaghy's not walking through that door. Scott Foster might be, but it's the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the dream playoffs matchups for round 1. We'll get into round 2 and round 3 and round 4 later in another episode. We're gonna call it a night here with Zero Gravity. I love ball. I can't wait for tonight. Golden State versus Dallas. I know you're going to listen to this. It already happened. Whatever, on Thursday. But I'm excited. A lot of good matchups to be had in the playoffs. I hope that we get some of the dream matchups that we're hoping for come a month from now. So I'm glad that Şengün's not like terribly hurt. And
yeah.
It sucks that he's going to miss the rest of the season and rolled his ankle and all that kind of stuff. But I'm glad it's not for a long time. That's a plus. I'm happy for you. I know that's a weight off of Rockets fans' shoulders there.
Right. I'm so glad that, I mean, of course, this was our best chance to get the play in, and especially we're playing 6 out of the next 7 games. I think teams under 500.
Yeah.
Wizards are coming to Toyota Center. Can't wait. Jordan Poole, what are you going to do? Can't wait. But it is truly something to be said that we expected 30 to 35 wins, and I know that this season for us has been all over the place, and of course there's been a lot more disappointment than actual enjoyment. But if you look at it, from our expectations at the beginning, we're like, oh, this is fine, this is okay. Yeah. Şengün's not out for the year. Of course, we could have made a deep dive attempt into the play-in, but we're already 4.5 games out. Just hit 500, go 11-6, hit 500. I would love that. It's doable. You know what I mean? Just show up, show out, get 40 wins, call it a night. We don't need a play in. It'd be better to have a lottery attempt anyway.
I think pick 1 through 4. The Rockets have 37 wins this year with an upside of 41. Yeah. I think that's kind of where I had them. And if they're in that range, I think that was a successful first season under Ime Udoka and spending a lot of money on Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet for no reason. Neither here nor there. That's for the
mid-pack
and you. But this has been Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast, brought to you by Big City Wings, Houston's Wing Joint, Apollo's Wing Joint. Go check out Celebrity Mint at celebritymint.com and at the Celebrity Mint on social media to see their graded legal tender collectibles with Mike Tyson, Ric Flair, and more. And shout out to Prize Picks. Use code Apollo when you sign up for up to $100 match on your first deposit. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy app. You bet. No, you can't bet. You can put more or less on every player. Prize Picks. Use code Apollo. Up to $100 matched on your first deposit. This has been Zero Gravity, Apollo Media's NBA podcast.